And now Carney's like, I got an idea. Let's like build 500,000 houses like next year. We'll do it
No problem,
ourselves,
right?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we'll
can
do it
handle this.
ourselves and everyone
Yeah,
will be happy and you know, and it'll solve the problem. It's
totally.
you know, it's hard to really judge based on that. I mean, he had a couple of policies that made sense when he talked about putting money into new housing projects, but you certainly don't want the government funding or being a developer. I mean, that's never going to work out the way you
Yeah.
want.
We've had too
Um,
many broken promises for us to really buy into
I
any of that
feel
stuff.
like they just promised the same thing like 2 years ago. Like, didn't they just promise this a couple years ago and put
I
all
remember
kinds of
the pamphlet. What was it? The brochure that he made out,
the
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 catalog, the
the
catalog of
catalog
housing.
of
Here, take this
architecture?
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but
It,
seriously, they just
it's
announced like billions of dollars of programs to like get housing, like what is it?
Housing
Housing
accelerator
affordability,
fund
housing
and yeah.
accelerator
Yeah.
fund, and this fund and that fund, and we're going to build this
We're
many
not giving the cities
houses,
any money if they don't meet their targets, you
right?
know? It's
right.
like, well, they did close and they did some nursing rooms and I think there were some bunk beds in that one there. So just give them their money anyways
Yeah.
because it'll be worth it.
And now Carney's like, I got an idea. Let's like build 500,000 houses like next year. We'll do it
No problem,
ourselves,
right?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
we'll
can
do it
handle this.
ourselves and everyone
Yeah.
will be happy and you know, and it'll solve the problem. I mean, when you look at the costs, obviously a lot of guys have talked about all the taxes and fees. And you just add all that up, and then you also add on like in our project that we did with Tridel, I think we had to build like 1-to-1 bicycle racks. Like it was so
Oh yeah.
ridiculous. And
You
I
got a
love biking, right?
bicycle
But
repair center inside the
it's
building.
crazy. And the parkland, and they talk about DCs and parkland dedications. And I thought I read somewhere that the city has $1 billion in development charges sitting in an account earning
All of it.
interest.
No, like
All
six
of the
billion
Section
or something.
37 is
Yeah.
just sitting in the same account. They haven't touched, they haven't
Eh,
spent anything yet.
I
it's
mean,
okay.
even the biggest Chow fan out there, can they justify how our property taxes have gone up 17% since she's been mayor? Has
Yeah.
anyone's services gone up 17%? Inflation hasn't. So,
Yeah.
how do you make sense of that? I mean, if anything, and the attitude she conveys to the market, like, if you're a business person, do you want to set up shop in Toronto when her biggest issues are bike lanes and name changes and DEI projects and everything else? I mean, it really doesn't send the right message to the international community. So
I feel like
hopefully we
Olivia
can turn
Chow's
her over.
she's been vocal about trying to give multifamily owners as much rope as she could. I mean, property taxes and support. Like, I mean, it seems like any policy she comes up, she lightens the load a little bit for multifamily residential.
That smoke and mirrors. Like the
Yeah.
reason why
Hmm.
multi-res players didn't absorb as much property taxes the last 2 years is because if there's a threshold of, I think it's 3%, and if she goes over that, we can go to the tribunal and get the increase. And we don't want that. We don't want to have to go for an above guideline increase. It
I see what
takes
you're saying
time,
on
but
a
she'll look
above
stupid.
guideline rent increase. So that's
Yeah,
why it's yeah,
you fine. Raise my
smoke and
property
mirrors.
taxes 4%, and
Yeah.
I'll recover it from rent and from
Yep.
the tenants that don't have anywhere to go. So
And then
that was just
they'll blame her. And so
of
she doesn't want the
course.
heat from them. Okay. Okay.
No,
Yep.
she's clever that way, but
Yep.
it's fortunately they don't have a lot of power, but I don't know. I mean, Darryl, I know you shared some stories about the city being more amenable on the development side. I think that's fantastic. And when the market, revs up again, which it will, I think that'll serve everybody well. And if anything, again, I'm just trying to be best case scenario here, but one of the worst things in my mind that Trudeau did was he cut off foreign buyers, and to everyone's detriment. He didn't
Yeah.
make housing more affordable. He didn't create more housing in any respect. He's hurting developers. I mean, just the chill that sends to the market that in my mind, because so much of the capital for new construction, again, in my experience, what I've read is it may be a local Canadian resident, but the capital's from offshore. So if you're sending that message for the most part, if you're sending that message to the market, we don't want your foreign capital here in Canada. We
Yeah.
only want Canadian stone homes. Then they'll just pick up their ball and play somewhere else. I would think, and I think we should play to our strength. That is our strength. We're not the sort of radicalness of America right now. We're a rule of law country. We've got all these resources. We're spread out, relatively safe. Bring your money here.
Yeah.
Bring your money here. And by the way, you bought a unit. So you bought a unit and you don't even live here and you're not going to use it. any services in Toronto, right? You're not going to use fire, school, police, anything. And we don't want your money. It's
Collect
just
your property
absurd.
taxes.
So
I don't even actually blame the government on that one, to be honest with you. I think it's a population sort of anti-immigration rhetoric that people are just blaming, jobs losses or overcrowding or, housing prices. We have an issue with that in North America. It's like when things aren't going well, you blame actually all the Western countries too. England's got a problem with it too.
sure.
You blame the immigrants. So it's actually a big political thing. So if, for example, probably ever knows that would be a great, boost to our housing market, but it kills you on the political spectrum when you say, well, we're going to bring back the foreigners and we're going to get them to, buy your real estate.
Drive up your prices.
Exactly. They don't like that, even though
Right.
it's obviously something that we need. So hopefully in 2027, when that policy matures and they say, okay, like we'll try it this way now, and it can just be eased in as opposed to someone
Hmm.
actually overturning it because
I don't know.
it's political suicide, unfortunately.
Are you looking for the best merch store on the planet? Well, we got the shit for you. Coming in at low prices where we barely make any money off of whatsoever, you can get the greatest real estate merchandise on this platform. Just look at this very flamboyant man putting on this great stuff. He looks great, he's dancing great, and boy does he look sexy in that merchandise. I tell you, buy this for anybody, you buy this for yourself. You will be not only repping the greatest Canadian real estate podcast in this world, but you will also be looking hella good doing it.